What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new episode of the Reject Bean Podcast. I am here once again, joined by my lovely wife, Melissa.
Hi, everyone.
And you guys know me, I'm Greg. I usually never say my name. I just realized that. I was going to say my name this past intro, but I didn't. Well, I did say it, but then I re-recorded it. This is actually like the third intro. Usually I lie about those things. Usually I say, "Hey, this is our 15th take," but this is actually like our fourth, fifth take.
I don't know.
So, a little update on the podcast that you guys probably don't care about, but the only reason I care about is because I've been spending way too much time. So,
way too much.
Last podcast that we shot with the Fire Lane podcast, we used their gear. Right?
Yes.
And it worked great. They had like these two little microphones and a Mac, and that inspired me to maybe want to get a Mac myself. And then I got a Mac, and I bought a new mic, because the mic that I had apparently wasn't working either. So then I buy this damn thing, and then I try to set it up the exact same way that Moises tried to do it. And the thing's not working. It just wasn't working. I uninstalled the program or reinstalled it, still not working. So now I am out $1,200.
No, because we're gonna go return it.
Yeah, I'm about to go return this thing. So I messed around with my PC, and now it looks like we can kind of do it. It's not the best, so if the audio sounds a little wonky sometimes maybe one of us is gonna cut off at a weird time. This is the best way that I can do it for now. I'm gonna keep looking into it. There's other ways to do it, but
he's definitely gonna keep looking into it.
Yeah, because you guys deserve the best. I do it because you guys deserve the best. And I mean, if I can get GarageBand to work. By the way, if you guys, anybody who knows anything about software and using GarageBand, either I've heard it both ways. Either it sucks like completely, like it just blows chunks, or male genitalia, or it's like the bee's knees. People always rave about it, but the only experience that I have is that it keeps crapping out. I mean, the whole thing is used to record things, and the minute I press record, it just craps out. So I don't know. Hey, Apple, is it because I did that rant about your shit? I gave you a compliment. Jeez.
I mean, they gave you a computer and like, well, F you, because you're saying all this shit about our company.
Yeah, they were like,
they like found you, found your internet that you're using. What was it called?
My IP address?
Your IP address, and like, F you, we're gonna just mess with your computer.
Dude, that's like cold. That's like some sadistic shit, right? And I can't even return the mic because I dropped it on the ground. You see the damage on it? You're the one using it. You see how it's got like a little dent on it on the front? It's kind of wonky. It's kind of warped. Do you see it?
No.
Okay, well, I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's what's been going on, guys, behind the scenes. I hope you guys don't... and here's the thing. I hope that you guys... there's people who have been asking me they want to start a podcast too and stuff. My cousin, Oscar, if you're hearing this, please do not take my experience and take it as a sign that this is really, really hard to do. I truly believe that I'm making this harder than it has to be. Because
I 100% agree with that.
Because every single video that I see, including Moises, talking to him, this shouldn't be this hard. But for some reason, we're just, I don't know. It's probably just me. It's got to be me.
I mean, he listens to the audio, and I think it sounds fine. And he's like, nope, there's something wrong with it. And he plays with the computer, and then he's like, let's try this again. And then again, I was like, I think it's fine. Nope, still something wrong with it. Okay.
Hey, you don't get to the caliber of a podcast, okay, by half-assing everything. You got to make sure everything's good.
I'm not saying that, okay? I'm just, we do the podcast when our daughter is asleep, and you know, I'm cooking another human being over here. I need my sleep.
Well, nevertheless, we're here once again to try to bring you guys some entertainment. So, but stay tuned. Hopefully, in the next couple of podcasts, I can come back and say, hey, we got it all figured out. Everything's great. Everything's working swell. Yeah. So today, the topic of hand, believe it or not, 5 minutes in,
is not about Mac
it's not about,
the podcast.
Although we could do something like that later on once we have tried every avenue. Is childhood injuries. You guys remember that show Scarred, MTV, with Jacoby?
That was my shit.
Was it?
I loved watching that show. I loved seeing like the bones coming out of people's arms. I'm just like, oh, that's awesome.
It was awesome.
But it sucked.
You know what it was kind of like? It was kind of like a because that came out when YouTube was like kind of reaching its peak.
Yeah.
Like that was when. Well, I think fails were always a thing, from a long time ago, because there's like fail blog and stuff like that. But like now there's like fail army and whatnot. But that was like Scar was kind of like what was that show called? 2020. It was like an expose on like specific fail videos.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like if a fail video had like commentary, that's kind of what it was like. It was like an expose. And I think everybody has a scarred story, and but not everybody gets the privilege to have Jacoby from Papa Roach.
That's true. Most of those injuries were like, you could see where the bone would break, or you could see like bones coming out, or all the blood.
I think it was cool they would show like the actual X-ray.
Yeah.
They should bring that show back. Although I only watched it when I went to my cousin's house because I didn't have cable.
Oh, I watched it all the time.
Yeah, because you had cable. Woo. So let's start with you, because I think you had broken bones before I had. I never broke anything. I still have scarred stories, but then I really like scars. But so you, if I'm not mistaken, you broke your leg, right?
Yes.
But I think you broke your collarbone before that, right?
I broke
clavicle.
I think so, something like that. But that's. I was way too young to remember. I just remember my mom telling me, because I have an older sister, and I was, following her around, as younger sisters do. And we were at my grandma's house, and she had jumped off of the bed into a box. And then me, being the little sister, I had to follow her and jump off of the bed into the box.
Was there anything in the box?
I don't know. I don't remember. I was a little girl. Maybe like 3 or 4. I don't remember. Or younger. Probably younger. I don't know.
Little daredevil at 4.
I think I was probably around our daughter's age, like maybe 2. And and I was just sitting in the box, and I had like, and my mom told me that she like went and she saw me, and I had like a tear rolling down my cheek, but I didn't cry or anything like that. And she picked me up, we went home, and I was, she put me to bed and everything like that, and I went to bed. And then like the next morning, she noticed like my shoulders, like I kept like walking with my shoulders like all off.
All chueca.
Yeah, I was all crooked. and she was just looking at me, and I was all walking all crooked, like leaning more to one side because I guess it hurt. And she took me to a witch doctor to figure out what was going on with me. because we're Hispanic and she didn't want to spend lots of money taking me to the actual doctor. And the lady looked at me and was like, "You need to take this girl to the ER, like to the hospital because her her shoulder or clavicle is broken, or I don't know."
I like how the lady or the curandera basically like admitted she accepted her limitations.
And she's like, I can't fix this. You actually gotta take her to a real doctor."
She was like, if I give her this ointment, she might come back. She might come back with some complaints.
So my mom took me to the doctor, and I had broken something. It was like in my shoulder region.
Yeah.
And so they gave me. Well, they didn't give me a cast or anything. I had to wear like it's kind of like a backpack. You put it around your arms, and you kind of wear it like a backpack, and it's to keep your shoulders like in place or something. I don't know.
Sounds uncomfortable.
I mean, I don't remember. But I mean, there's my story. Then also I had broken my leg, and those are like the only things I have broken.
You broke that on the trampoline, right? Your leg?
Yes, I did. I was in elementary school, and my mom had gotten me and my sister a trampoline for our birthday, since her birthday is close to my birthday, and like a month away. And we were jumping, and one of our neighbors in the back would always play alone, so we invited her to play with us. And we used to like to do that thing where we like to make each other jump high. You know how you jump away for a little bit, and then you'd like jump really hard, and the person would like shoot up into the air.
Yeah.
So that's what we were doing, and my sister had done that to me, and the little girl grabbed my leg and pulled me down, and I had landed wrong and broke my leg.
Like she pulled you while you were in midair?
Yes.
The hell?
I don't know.
I've never seen that.
She's like grabbed my leg and like pulled me down.
Like if you were a balloon going up?
Yeah, I guess. But and I landed wrong, and then I started crying, and so my sister ran inside, got my mom, and I believe my mom had to. No, it wasn't that time. My mom had to. Well, my mom carried me into the car. We went to the doctor. I got a cool looking cast, and then I had to learn how to use crutches for the first time. And I was in elementary school during this time, and
Didn't you had to use like these hand-me-down crutches that were made out of wood or something?
No, I mean those were the only crutches that they had back then. Were the wood ones.
What? It wasn't that long ago. You're only 26.
Yes, but for the little kids, they only had the wood ones.
Oh, they didn't have like smaller.
Or maybe they're just a cheaper version.
Maybe they're like they don't need the good ones.
Because I believe we had Medicaid at the time.
I feel like,
and I think Medicaid only paid for the cheaper ones.
I feel like wood would be more expensive, but maybe I don't know. I feel like
trust me, no, they wouldn't, because I would fall with those all the time because with the leg, because you know how it's an adjustable leg. With the metal ones, like you had that push-in button, and that hardly ever goes wrong.
Right.
But with the wood ones, you had like a screw. You had to like tighten it because it had the butterfly hinge things or whatever, where you had to like tighten them.
Butterfly, I think it's called a butterfly nut.
Yeah, I had a butterfly nut. And it would always get loose, so then like my leg would like cave in, like not my actual leg, like the leg of the crutch would cave in, and I'd like fall. Or like when it was raining, like the rubber wasn't that good. Like on the bottom of the crutches, I would go in and my freaking just my crutches would go in the air, my legs would go in the air, and I just like fall.
It was just not a good time.
No, so then the nurse let me like take a wheelchair, because I kept falling on my crutches because I couldn't work them, and then she had to take that away from me because being a little girl, I wanted to play with my friends. So, my friends wanted to play with me too, so the only way they could do that was to push me in the wheelchair really fast and to be sitting on top of me, because how else am I going to have fun in a wheelchair? So they had to take the wheelchair away from me, and I just kept falling with my crutches.
Even though, wait, hold on. So like they knew that you weren't supposed to do that, but they would just do it anyway, and then you would just fall on your ass.
Do what? The wheelchair?
Oh, for some reason I thought you said that like they would do that anyway, and then you would have to go on the crutches, and then they'd be like, oh, whatever.
Well, no, like I would go to the nurse's office and get the wheelchair because I kept falling. Because my mom asked if since I kept falling, I had all these bruises on me because I bruise very easily. And the nurse said okay, but then the monitor ladies, the ladies who are out like making sure the kids are being safe and there's no fights breaking out, caught me playing with my friends, like because where my elementary school there was like an outside eating area too. Nobody ate outside, but there was an outside little eating area, had like tables and stuff, but it was all cemented, and we were playing, like they're like pushing me, in the wheelchair and running around with me, and they would like get on the wheelchair with me and like push me, because I mean, I wanted to run out and play and I couldn't, and they felt bad for me because I couldn't play with them, so they were trying to play with me and
like literally play with you.
Yeah. I mean, and then the lunch lady had to be all chismosa and tell the nurse, and I got the wheelchair taken away from me, and then I had to use my crutches again and be slipping all over the place.
Like you say that like it's a freaking bitch ass lady.
No, like I understand, safety and whatever, but like I'm a kid. I want to play. Give me a warning. Like, jeez.
I'm just trying to get some of my freedom back, okay?
Right?
Jeez. That's funny. Yeah, I don't think I never had to. The only time I ever had to, like, I'm trying to think of, like, a time where I actually had to, like, use, not necessarily a wheelchair or anything like that, but just anything like crutches or something like that. I think the only time that I ever kind of limped. No, actually, that's not true. Because when I was in middle school, is when I had my ingrown toenail problem, and they had to take all of them out. Like it was, yeah, it was a pretty big issue. Yeah, they all needed to come out, and well, except for my pinky toes. I think it's kind of hard to get. It's not impossible, but I managed to not get one there. And I know why. It's because I was using shoes that were too tight. Because I found like these pair of like Air Nikes. They were like really cool, but they were really, really they were like, I think it was like two sizes too small, like a size and a half smaller than what I needed. And like I was wearing these things that you can like practically see like my foot, like my toe like protruding out. And I wore those for like a couple weeks, and then that's when my feet really started to hurt. Like, like my socks were like full of blood all the time.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's a separate issue though. But anyway, so when I got the surgery, I had to wear like the super like big old like chanclas, and I had to wear them with socks. So it was like the big sandals with this like the ones that have the strap over your foot,
Yeah.
and then with socks and like a bunch of gauze and stuff, and they would give me like extra time to like walk to class because they didn't want like kids to like, step on my foot by accident, because then that would hurt like a bitch. I think they gave me like ibuprofen. I think that was like the first time I got prescribed ibuprofen for pain.
Payments.
Payments for days. I would share them, and I'm just kidding.
They would sell them in little baggies.
Hey, Greg's got those pills that make you feel good. No, and so that was that time, and then another time that I kind of had to limp, but this was my own dumbass fault. I accidentally stepped on a nail, like
I've done
on the
that.
board, and like I was kind of limping because of that. But I mean, I didn't have crutches or anything. I just kind of sucked it up, because it didn't go. I mean, it went in. It went in far enough for me to go ouch, but it didn't. Like I've heard of people like actually get stuck to the board or something.
Oh, that reminds me of one of my stories. But I mean,
Well,
I'll let you finish.
And then, well, since we're talking about legs, because I think yours was worse, if I remember. But I have a pretty gnarly scar on my leg, and it's like a natural scar. Like there's no stitches or anything like that. From when I got like a stick, shanked by a stick. So back in the day, my grandma used to live in Fabens. So if you guys are from Chuco, you guys know I'm from the lower valley. Yeah, some people are from Clint, but I'm from Fabens, and now we're in Tornillo.
So we're now in the lower valley.
We're not even in the valley anymore. We're like in a separate town that's overlooking the valley. No, but she had like a canal. Like there was a canal that ran through her house, and it was really deep, but there was hardly any water. So it was just basically like a giant like dirt ditch. And for some reason that day, I forgot why, we would kind of run and like jump down into the ditch. And like I said, it was so deep that like you would jump into it and you would basically just land on the side of a hill. That's what it was. It's basically like a really really steep hill. So like yeah, we were just jumping down, and then I guess on one of the times that I jumped and like my leg landed right on top of a stick that was like sticking out. And I just, oh man, like sometimes it gives me the creeps, because it gives me like, not the creeps, but it gives me like, kind of like skeeves me out, because I remember like I felt something on my leg. I was like, what the hell? And then I remember like grabbing the stick and just kind of moving it like back and forth, like, this is stuck to my leg. And then that's when I freaked out. I was like, oh my god, there's a stick on my leg. And yeah, I think all they did was cover it up and like patch it up, and I didn't go to the hospital. But I remember a similar story to what happened to you, that somebody put like horse something.
So
horse something.
Horse something. So on my left leg, I have this eyelid shaped scar on the bottom of my knee, and I got that because, okay, well, again, I was in elementary school. I feel like all my stories happen when I'm in elementary school.
You're a bad kid.
But we were having so I'm gonna rewind a little bit further than the day that I got the scar. So the day before I got my scar, we had a really bad sandstorm. So it was really windy outside, and me and my sister decided to look outside, and we saw a tent, just like flopping around because it was really windy. And we're like, oh, look, there's a tent. So we ran outside and we got the tent. So we could play with it later because we never had a tent. So
I just think it's funny. Like, saw a tent and we're like, okay, we gotta keep that so we can play with it later. Because we never had one.
well, we didn't. We didn't. We're not an outdoorsy family. We didn't go outside a lot.
I never even seen a tent.
We never been in one, so we're like, oh, we never had one. Let's go get it. So we got it, and we put it in. I think my dad's little shed outside, and yeah. So we got the tent. The story involves that tent. That's why I had to bring it up, and like either the next day or like a couple days after that, we went to go hang out with our neighbors and went in back. Not the one who pushed my leg down and made me break my leg, but
screw that bitch.
The one next to them.
I'm kidding.
And my sister wasn't playing with us. It was just me and the girl. And somebody else. I think somebody else was there. I can't remember. But so I was there, and her name is Ashley. So we were hanging out, and I was like, I think the mom didn't want me to go inside because they were cleaning the house and stuff like that, and they wanted the house to stay clean. Something. So it was pretty hot outside, and I'm like, and we wanted to be inside, and I was like, hey, me and my sister found a tent. Let's bring the tent out, and we can, have a little picnic. So that's what we did. We took the tent out into her front yard, and she had like trees, so we put it in the shade. And in this tent, the zipper to get in wasn't working, but they had like where the window was, they like had cut it out so you can climb in and out of it.
Nice.
So the door wasn't working to the tent, but you had a nice little space to crawl in and out to.
Oh, so like it wasn't the whole window, it was just like a hole?
No, like, I mean, you've seen tent windows, they're not that big, it was enough for us to get in. So it was like kind of, it wasn't like on the floor, it was like higher up. So she brings out food, and she brings it in like not plastic plates, which I was used to because who wants the dirty dishes, but she brought glass plates out.
Like even in like an imaginary, like, oh, we're not gonna use fake dishes. Like, I'm not gonna even pretend to wash these.
Well, no, yeah. So she brings like real glass plates out, and I was climbing inside the tent, and my foot got caught, so I fell in, and my leg landed on one of the plates, and the plate broke.
Ouch.
Yes. So it dug in and tore off a chunk of skin. And
oh my God.
And I just started bleeding everywhere. So then
this is why you use fake dishes.
Right? So I climb out of so we climb out, and I didn't want to put any weight on it, and I'm like just bleeding all over the place. So Ashley's older brother, because she had two older brothers, but like her younger older brother came out, and I used to have a crush on him, and I was crying, but he like picked me up, and then I just stopped crying, and I was just like looking at him.
Wow.
Anyways, so he took me to the tub so they can like wash my cut, and but like he was like way older than me. It was like in high school.
I mean, apparently we could pick you up.
Yeah. So he was like washing it, and honestly, I mean, I was young, but I swear I could see my bone. Like I saw white, and I'm pretty sure it was my bone.
I mean,
it was a pretty deep cut.
Ouch.
So yeah, and I'm pretty sure he was like trying to wash my cut and try to stop it from bleeding, trying to clean it out. And Ashley ran over to my mom's house, and she told my mom. So my mom got me, and my dad had the car, and she was calling my dad, and he wasn't answering. So she had to call my grandpa. So my grandpa came over and he came inside. He looked at my cut and was like, my grandpa is pretty Mexican. I mean, you know, as Mexican as I've seen because my family's pretty whitewashed.
He took some limon and then he put it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, so he looked at the cut and was like, that's nothing. So he got like this gel that they put on horses when they get cuts to clot it up and to stop the bleeding. You know, it's kind of like Vaseline.
Okay.
But you put it on horses, and he put a blob of that on my leg and just wrapped it. And it's like, she's fine.
And it was like healed pretty fast.
I don't remember. Like, I remember getting cut, and then I remember it being healed. I don't remember any time between that.
Because you were too busy, like thinking about your crush, how he carried you to the bathtub.
He just swooped me up and carried me to the tub.
You were like, "Why do birds?"
Yeah, like I was crying, like I was bawling, and then he picked me up, and I just like stopped crying.
You're like,
I was like, sick it up, don't let him see you cry.
like, oh shit, he's watching. That doesn't hurt.
Nope.
I'm a pimp. Wow.
Well, no, like this was elementary school, so I mean, I really don't remember how long it took to heal, but I remember, you know, like when it did heal, like I was super ticklish in that spot. Like you couldn't touch it, and I was like super ticklish. Now, you know, I'm not ticklish. I don't really feel it anymore. But I still have that gnarly scar right there.
And you probably cut deep enough in like almost like your nerves.
Probably, like seriously, if you touch it, like you could feel how deep it was. Like you can. I swear, I saw bone.
You don't even know.
I mean, I probably didn't, but I could swear I saw bone, and I mean, I don't even know what happened to that chunk of skin.
That guy kept it because he liked you too. So. No, I get what you're saying. Like, well, I mean, I wasn't there, but like when I cut my finger, like I have a scar on my finger when I was you know, as boys do, I was playing in the dirt, and there was like a piece of glass, and it just like cut me like soup, just perfect cut, soup. And like yeah, like I swear, like when my skin was opening, because it's like right here on my finger, right at the tip. But it's not the tip. That's like it's like in the middle.
It's like in your knuckle, kind of.
Between the like that segment between that like the finger part and the knuckle, that little segment. Yeah, like I swear when it was open, like I could see something in it. Like I don't know if it was my bone or if it was like sort of nerve, but it looked weird. I was like, "Is that my bone?"
Well, the skin around your fingers is pretty thin, so it could have. If it cut you pretty deep, you could probably see your bone.
And yeah, I think it cut me like all the way. Like I could see through the other side. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, now you're over exaggerating. It cut your finger off?
I think my finger was off for like a second. No. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. That's like way more significant because like my scar is like a scar, like
Scar.
Like so you can actually see like the skin closed up, but yours is like you kind of have like a hole.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could. It's a scar too. You could see where the skin grew back.
It's just like a huge gap, though.
Yeah.
You just poked. I like how you just poked that. Like if you're like, yeah, like that's what. Look at that scar.
Oops.
By the way, I'm muting my mics every once in a while, so if you miss something, like I said, this is just whatever, man. I'm at the point where I don't even care anymore. If this sounds like shit, just let me know. I'm trying to get this better. But so let's fast forward a little bit because we don't want to be here all night. Um, let's talk about the most recent thing that happened. It happened to you. Um, but okay, what do you want to talk about that, or should we talk about what happened to me first? Because I think what happened to me wasn't as bad, but it was still weird. So I guess we'll just go in order. Okay, so right before, so let's just go in order. Right before I got out of the military, I should say we got out of the military because it was a team effort.
Yes.
Um, I was in the hospital for 5 days. For well, actually, even before that, I had a bulging disc. That's not really much of a story. My back really hurt, and then I had a bulging disc. My back really hurt, and then I went to the hospital. They gave me some muscle relaxants, and then they told me to stay in bed. And then Melissa went to the doctor to go find out she was pregnant. And then I decided to try to go to get up and try to go to the bathroom, and then my back locked out. And then she comes back, and I'm getting put in an ambulance on a gurney because I had to call the neighbor to tell her I
No,
got stuck.
that's not even true. You called me and told me that you were on the floor, and I said, "We'll call our neighbor. Have him help you or something." And then I got home, and then you had a really hard time getting into to bed, and then that's when we suggested you call the ambulance because it wasn't getting any better and it got worse.
I remember me getting put on the stretcher and then you barely getting there though.
No.
No? Okay. I think that would have been a better story. But anyway, they got me back. It's just really really painful. But the most significant I think was when I got diagnosed with Guillain-Barré or Guillain. I always say Guillain-Barré. That's what it looks like to me. So it's a really rare disease. It's an autoimmune disease. Basically, my immune system is attacking my nerve system. Really weird, and it's like really rare. It's like less than 20,000 cases a year. They don't really know what causes it, and they don't know why it goes away. And if it comes back, they really don't know why it comes back. So, yeah, essentially, like, it happened, like, I hit my elbow. It was really weird. I hit my elbow, and then it was, like, all tingly. And then, like, when you hit your elbow, you kind of feel, like, that tingling sensation, like, when you hit your funny bone. But I started feeling that everywhere. I felt it, like, it was just, like, traveling up my arm. Oh, this is weird. And then I started feeling it in my other arm. Like, well, I don't know why it's spreading, but maybe I hit myself really hard. And then it started getting to my feet and my toes, and I was like, okay, like this is starting to get a little concerning. And then eventually I felt it when I started feeling it in the back of my neck. Is when I was like, okay, maybe I should go talk to somebody. Maybe I like really messed myself up. Maybe I like.
And FYI, I told you to go to the doctor when you started feeling this. Okay,
Yeah.
So, I kept telling him, I was like, well, maybe you should go to the doctor. And he's like, well, I don't know, like it's not bugging me that much. I'm just like, okay, but I'm telling you, you should probably go to the doctor.
Well, like in terms of symptoms, like I wasn't like in pain. It was just really strange, and
that is why you should have gone to the doctor, because it was a strange feeling your body was giving you.
anytime you feel strange, you need to go to the doctor. No, but that's what it was more like strange and like uncomfortable because like eventually, like when I would wash my hands, feel weird, and if I try to do something like that required like a lot of dexterity, like it was starting to feel weird. And I had been doing like pull-ups and stuff like that, like as a workout, and like I started getting weaker. Like I could notice like I can't do as many as before. So it started going in the back of my neck, and then eventually it kind of started affecting the back of my throat, and like I kind of got like this a little bit, and I'm like, what is going on? And it turns out like the back of my throat, like where like your uvula is and stuff like that, it was numb. It was going numb. So at that point, I decided to go to the doctor. So in the Air Force, you go to the clinic. bunch of Air Force people will tell you what might be wrong, and then they reference you. So the guy was like, I don't know what's wrong. Everything's fine. I think you'll be okay. I think maybe it's like a virus or something. Okay, if you say so. No, and hold on. That was the first guy. That was not, there was the first guy, and then when I went to go get a second opinion, the lady was like, "I'm gonna go send you to a neurologist." No.
No. So what happened was you went to the clinic, and they told you they have no idea what was going on with you, so that they were gonna send you to a neurologist. But you had to wait, I believe. So you went to work, and then maybe a day later, then it started affecting your talking, and people at work were, making fun of you because you were talking
crazy.
You were talking funny, and then one of your higher ups came and was like, hey, you should go to the hospital. So then you went to the hospital.
Yeah, well, when I got to the neurologist, she did a bunch of tests.
No, because you went to the Bellevue Hospital first, and they told you, well, it could be this, but since you're still walking and you can breathe, we can't admit you.
Oh no, yeah, you're right, because we went to the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a time when I went to the clinic and they told me, that's when they referenced me to the neurologist.
Yes, and that's why I said that you went to the clinic first and they referenced you to the neurologist. But then you went to work the next day, and that's when it started affecting your talking.
Yes.
Yes. And then they told you to go to the hospital. Your higher ups.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Okay, I forgot the part where my coworkers or the higher ups were like, "Hey, you need to go to the hospital. Like, I don't feel comfortable you being here." And I was like, "Okay, fine." And then that's when I went, and they were like, well, it seems like you're okay." So they sent me home. But then when I went back to the clinic,
well, they told you it could be Guillain-Barré, but since your symptoms haven't progressed to what usually happens to Guillain-Barré patients, they couldn't admit you. But they said it could be this, but since you're still breathing and you aren't paralyzed, we can't admit you.
Which is kind of ridiculous, because the reason why when I got the second opinion to an actual neurologist, the reason why she wanted me to go to the ER is so I wouldn't have to go through that. But the reason, yeah, they kind of made it seem like, well, we can't admit you until you're basically at the worst possible scenario. Yeah. So I went to the neurologist, still talking like that. She's doing all these tests on me, and she's like, okay, so this is not normal. First of all, she kind of gave me a compliment, even though she was just trying to show me the gravity of the situation. It's like you're a young guy, obviously you're in good shape, and you have zero strength in your arms, legs, and you sound really weird when you're talking. This is not normal. He's like, you need to go to the ER right now, because you're running the risk basically of if it spreads to your lungs. That's what she said. If it starts to spread to your lungs, you are going to basically suffocate, because your lungs are not going to have any strength to breathe in air, and at that, it was kind of concerning, because I have been going through this it's 2 weeks or something, and I'm going to work, and I'm driving, and I'm playing with my daughter and stuff. I'm like, so you're saying that I could just stop breathing at any second? So I called my wife. I was still in uniform and everything. I'm like, hey, so I need to go to the ER because she's afraid that I might just drop dead from not breathing. And obviously you were concerned at that point. Well, I mean, you had been concerned the entire time, but at that point,
yes,
you were kind of like, you idiot. So I get admitted. And they need to run a bunch of tests, of course. And they said they needed to do what is known as a spinal tap. And we're not talking about Halo. They literally mean They're gonna shove a needle in my
Back.
ass. I'm just kidding. Sorry, the way I worded that. They were gonna stick a needle in my spine and suck out fluid to test it. That's a thing, apparently, that they could do. They need to do. So I was there, and I was all by myself because you were at work.
Because you told me to stay at work.
Okay, but you were at work, and nobody else was there, and I was really scared. And the guy poked me in the back, what felt like 100 times. And then I was like, hey, you almost done back there? And he was like, nope, I haven't even started yet because I'm trying to find the right spot. I'm like, what? Now you want to be a perfectionist? Like, just shove that thing and suck. So that sucked really bad. Literally. And so, yeah, I was in the hospital for 5 days, and it was pretty miserable. Like, have you ever been sick in bed? Like, you get bored. And not only do you get bored, so one thing to be in your house, like being bored to death, like you can't, you gotta watch TV or something. But just to be in the hospital for that long, and people constantly come into your room, like you're trying to take a nap, and they just keep coming in, like, hey, we need to take your vitals, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this. Like, it just got so repetitive, and I hated it. And what I hated the most was that all the crap that were pumping into me to make me better, which is called an IVIG treatment, which I think is basically like dead white blood cells or something like that. I can't remember the specifics. But it was making me so nauseous. Like, I was always nauseous. And I just had these, like, things, like, being pumped into me through the IV. And I would tell them, like, hey, I'm getting nauseous. And then they would say, okay, well, we're going to put some more stuff in your IV to make you less nauseous. So, yeah, it was just, like, the worst thing ever. But luckily, I never stopped breathing. I never got paralyzed. And I made, like, a full recovery. So what they, out of, like, the 7 doctors that looked at me, 6 of them agree. The 7th one just wanted to run a few more tests, but I was like, nah, I'm fine, because I was all better. But most of the people agree that I had, like, a very unique and very unique and mild, atypical. Sorry, I muted you when you said atypical. Yeah, an atypical case of Guillain-Barré. So they're saying that we don't know. we don't know if it's gonna come back. Might not. But it's one of those things that we don't know. They don't know enough about it. So, but just to end on this note, what ended up happening to you? I think that was like the worst thing. I think it was just the timing of it, because you know when it happened to me, luckily we still had medical insurance, and you know I was able to extend my contract so I can have more medical insurance. But when what we're about to talk about happened to you, it was like when we found out that, you know, we didn't have the support of the military anymore. We're out here on our own. It's literally, that was like the time when we felt like everything that could have been going wrong was going wrong. So tell us. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at it now because of I look back and I'm like, oh my God, like, how do we not just like be like, no, Air Force, take us back, because it was so bad. It was just a bad time. So to tell the viewers what happened. If you want, you can give them a background, because you're better at explaining those.
Okay. Well, we had moved back to our hometown, El Paso. We were living at Greg's dad's house here in Tornillo, and we decided to ride his 4-wheeler, and so we decided to go take it on a joyride. And I had never ridden one by myself, like in the dunes, because I didn't grow up having 4-wheelers. He did. And so he wanted me to practice riding up a hill. So he told me to go up one of the hills. So I did. And I did it very nicely.
And tell him the advice that I gave you for the second hill.
Hold on, I'm getting there. So then I come back down, and I did that pretty well, you know. And he tells me to go up on the other side, which was a little bit more rougher terrain, and a little bit more steep. But on this hill, it kind of like cut off, and there was mesquite trees in the bottom of it. And he told me to, well, first of all, he told me if I felt comfortable doing it, and I was like, not really. But he's like, no, well, you'll be fine. Just go really fast. Just gun it, basically.
I'm like, just go for it. Don't even worry about the consequences.
Yeah, just don't think about it. Just gun it. So
the look on your face now that I think about it, it was like, is that it? Like, that's it? I don't have to think about anything else.
So I go up this hill, and it had. If you grew up in the desert, you know, like when it rains and the dirt gets really hard and it gets like cracks in it. That's basically what this hill had. It had like these little like wavy cracks in it. So it made me kind of have a harder hold on the handlebars of the quad I was riding. So the quad like kind of locked, the handlebars kind of like locked into the direction of the edge of the of the hill where the mesquite trees were.
You basically went like, instead of going up the trail like completely straight, you basically went like at an angle.
And because the handlebars locked, because I couldn't move them, because they were hard to move. So I went off the cliff. Luckily, didn't hit any mesquite trees. There was this little patch of dirt between a mesquite tree and another mesquite tree.
Just a bunch of mesquite trees.
Just a bunch of mesquite trees everywhere, and I landed on this patch of dirt. Luckily, not mesquite trees. And the quad, well, so I bailed off the quad when it went off the, as it was going off the edge, and I landed first on my ass, and the quad landed after me, right on my right leg. Right, my leg was bent, so it landed on my thigh, my knee, and a bit of my calf.
Left a nice little tread mark.
Yeah. So one of the tires landed on me, full weight, and then it landed right and rolled away, into just regular dirt.
Just hanging out. It was still on. Didn't even turn off.
Yeah. It was just like you should have stayed on me or something, you know, just a big F you.
I was like, oh damn, are you alright? Alright, I'm leaving now.
and I couldn't move my leg. I could not move my leg. Like nothing was broken, but my leg just kind of turned purple, and it was pink, and I couldn't really move it. Like, it just hurt so bad. Like, immediately it burned because I had a hematoma, so there was just like blood filling up in my leg a little bit.
Yeah, looked like you got kicked by a UFC fighter.
And so it burned immediately, and then I couldn't move it. And then I just like kept like crying and like was blatant. Like, I was like, I told you I wasn't ready to get on the hill.
He wasn't ready. And then we had to get you out of there, so I had to call my mom.
Luckily, I had my phone on me because you didn't have your phone on you.
Nope.
And and we were trying to figure out how we were gonna get out because we were in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, and like, yeah, we weren't, we were pretty far from the road,
Yeah.
from the main road. So I had to call my mom and be like, hey, like, we're over here. And,
Well,
and I was like, I'm going to have to get on the ATV and meet them so I can escort them over here.
well, first you wanted me to try to get back on the
Yeah,
quad,
that didn't work.
and I was like, nope, that's not happening.
Uh, you couldn't even stand up.
No, I mean I could, but it's just it hurt so bad. Like it hurt sitting down, but then like when I stood up and like the like you know how like your blood kind of rushes to the rest
Yeah.
of your lower half when you're sitting down and you stand up.
Yes.
So like it just like I stood up and it's just like it hurt more. So I was just like, nope, that's not happening.
Yeah, no, that would have been rough anyway because like just how bumpy the roads would have been. So it would have been more painful. The only way we could have done it is if we. Well, I don't even think you could bend your leg at all. Like you basically your leg had to be motionless, and like even the skin around it couldn't move.
Well, I also couldn't put any weight on it. So I couldn't throw one of my legs over and but so you had to go, to the road to wait for your mom, and then had to show them where I was, but I was in the dirt, and I was, as much as like my leg hurt, I was like in more torture because there was like ants and bugs crawling around, and some of them were getting on me, and I hate ants because I have like another traumatic story with ants, and that I hate them, like, and I saw ants crawling on me, so that made me just like cry more. And so they found me, and then they had to get me on like in the truck.
Which was a whole nother thing.
Yeah. And then we had to drive in the hilly terrain back to our house, and then I got out of the truck, into my car. Or no, into your car, and then we drove to the hospital.
Yep. And then man, I don't know. Like I never seen you in that. Well, I mean, I could see you giving birth and stuff, but like that was just like a whole different kind of pain, I bet. Because I mean, it was just like centralized leg, and like every time they touched it, they were trying to clean it. They were trying to take your pants off.
I had shorts.
Well, your hot pants.
But
And then we found out. Well, I don't know if you wanted to tell that too.
good.
I'm saying. Oh, I don't know if you wanted to say it.
Well, this was maybe this was a month, like 3 weeks from him getting out of the military. And the military had told him when he got out that he was going to have 3 months of medical coverage after he got out, just so we can settle into civilian life
And find another provider.
Yeah, so that's what they told us. Well, told him when he had to take his back to civilian life class.
That's what everybody kept telling me.
And come to find out, we didn't have any medical coverage, and we spent the rest of my time that I was healing trying to figure out the whole medical situation, because we were going back and forth to where one person would say that yes, you should have medical coverage, then the next person would be, but you have to call this person, and then we'd call that person, they'd be like, we've never heard of that, I don't know what you're talking about. So then we'd have to call another person and be like, oh, that's weird, you should have that. And then it was really horrible, and it was stressful, and we have we had like an almost 2-year-old daughter, and she like kept wanting to climb all over me, and my leg hurt, and you know, I didn't want to go see the doctors anymore because I was like, well, we're gonna have this expensive ass medical bill to pay, you know, and it was expensive. But we luckily we were able to get Medicaid, and they paid for that. And but it was horrible. I mean, my leg was really bruised up, and I had like this hematoma, and I couldn't straighten my leg because of the swelling, and like I have like this huge, I still have a bump from the accident that happened like in June, and we're already in the new year, so I still have like this bump where it's still numb on the base, like in the base of the bump, and it's still a little discolored, but it just, gonna be there forever.
That's basically what the doctor told you. They basically said that, like, oh yeah, it's just gonna be like that forever.
Yeah. So I'm like a little, self-conscious about it. But I was self-conscious about this eye-shaped scar I had on my leg when that first happened. So it's just gonna take me some time to get used to my leg being this way. But it was all a nightmare. And luckily, I recovered. I can straighten my leg. It's still a little sensitive every now and then. But I mean that was a rough time.
Yeah, I mean, you spent 4th of July, or you spent 4th of July just sitting down, uncomfortably, watching fireworks from far away.
Well, yeah, because sitting down in a chair wasn't comfortable at all for me because where I sit down, that's that part I is usually on the chair, so I couldn't have like that pressure on it. So it was really hard for me to sit down in most chairs. And then also like having my leg like kind of like dangle, so I couldn't sit on like high chairs either because having my leg kind of dangled it was very uncomfortable. It hurt. And luckily once it got better, I was able to sleep better because sleeping was horrible. I was able to sit down, and I was able to stop using those damn crutches again.
This time we had real crutches. We didn't have those wooden ones.
Yeah, we had the metal ones that had the little button that you adjust.
Carbon fiber, I believe. Whatever. No, I think it's aluminum.
Maybe. Either way, it's still fucking uncomfortable.
And yeah, that's pretty much been the most recent incident, I guess you can call it. Yeah.
And then pretty much like after my recovery, we found out we were having a baby.
Yeah, it's been a really like strange and like interesting year. This last year, 2018, was kind of like everything was happening all at once. We were transitioning from military life to civilian life, going to school for the first time. Melissa gets injured. We have to find how to live without all this like military support. And then we found out we're having another baby, and then we don't have a house. Like there's just so many things that were happening. So. But we wanted to share with you guys some of the interesting stories of us getting hurt and whatnot. Because, I don't know, I think it's fun to talk about. Everybody talks about craziest things that happened to them. And, we probably could find more little things that happened. But I think those are the most that stick out in my mind. So, this one was kind of a weird one. I think there was kind of a weird tone to this one. But hopefully you guys... enjoyed it. I don't know if there's anything you want to say, anything you want to add.
I mean, hopefully the audio. Let me try that again. Hopefully the audio sounds good.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep working at it. Trust me.
He will.
We'll be. Honestly, I want to get to the point where we can just literally just sit down around 9 o'clock, right when our daughter goes to sleep, right? Press record, boom, do like an hour maybe, and then boom, we're done. And that's it. I don't want to have to sit here for like an hour and a half trying to figure out if this is gonna work. Maybe it's gonna work. Maybe it's not. Do like 400 test recordings and then finally start recording. Because then we're all tired and I think our friends at Farlane Podcast have been doing the same thing because they posted a video or a thing on Snapchat. They're like, "Oh, we're late night recording or whatever." So that's not what I want to do. I'm trying to streamline this so we can get this done as fast as possible. So thank you guys for bearing with us. You guys have a good night. I'm not sure when this is gonna go up. Usually I try to get it out Saturday, Sunday, but depending on what we're doing tomorrow, I should be able to get it done or upload it tomorrow morning before we go and return this stupid MacBook Pro. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. You guys have a good one. Remember to follow us, or follow me, I should say, on Reject Bean Soup. It's my Instagram handle. If you guys want to look me up on Snapchat, that's going to be Panico Hispanico. And you can always check me out on YouTube at rejectbeansoup.com/YouTube. I'm just kidding. Whatever it is. And we're available on Podbean, which is a free app that you can get for iOS, fuck iOS, and Android. So, thank you guys so much for listening. Catch you guys in the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.